So, as you know, tunneling is one of my favorite things. So I just want to talk a little bit more about tunneling, and in particular, talk to you about how we tunnel and how geology might affect the decisions we make for tunneling. So, for example, if you had a very soft rock that's highly weathered, highly fractured, you might be able to get away with one of these, which is especially designed sort of hoe. It would just go up to the face and dig, 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 and then create a pile of muck and rubble, and then you would bring in what we call a scoop tram, and that would just dig up that rubble from the face, dump it into a haul truck, and then this haul truck could have many kilometers to drive on its way out the tunnel. If the rock is a little bit harder and you're maybe doing a very large excavation, you can use one of these bad boys. This is called a road header, and it's got teeth on the end of this spinning tool at the end that can go up and down and move around the face. These little feeder mechanisms here feed the broken rock up into the middle and then out the back on a conveyor belt. This is another type of the same type of machine. This is the machine that would have been used to dig the Metro, the LRT in Ottawa. And again, these would just work their way around the face, gom, 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 right? And then the material would get picked up here, come out the back of the conveyor belt, and basically picked up by a series of trucks or trains, and then again, driven out the tunnel. Now, you may need to support that tunnel, so of course one of the things you can do is use rock bolts. Here's a typical little model of a rock bolt. It's got a plate to anchor up against the face of the tunnel. This can be smooth or rough if you're going to put cement grout in, and then put an anchor on the end. This type of mechanical anchor acts like your drywall plugs when you hang pictures. As you screw the bolt in, these teeth spread out and anchor the rock. And then depending on what you want to do, you might want to grout this piece to add that sort of reinforcement to the rock. Another thing you can do is spray concrete, shotcrete. So this is shotcrete. It's been sprayed on a tunnel wall. There's little fibers in here that are part of the mix. Those help to reinforce. And you'd use a piece of equipment like this. This is a robotic shotcrete applicator. It would spray this concrete product out the end, and this would move around on a pre-programmed fashion. This would be spinning, and it would cover the whole tunnel with a uniform layer of this reinforcing shotcrete. Now, once you get into harder rock, you're going to need to bring in some more heavy-duty equipment. This is a drill jumbo, and this one has 3 either computer-controlled or manually controlled arms. It's got a little cage here for a worker to be there to install maybe rock bolts, but these 3 arms, and they can go up to about 5, are simultaneously drilling holes into the rock, and you might actually do 50, 60, 70 holes for a typical blast round in a decent-sized tunnel. Those would be loaded with explosives, fragmented, and blasted. This is called a drill jumbo. That does most of the work. But then once the blasting occurs, you'd bring in again another scoop tram. These are low-slung pieces of equipment designed to be working underground, and that would be picking up all that broken rock and transporting it to some sort of way of getting it out of the tunnel. And then for hard rock, if you want to go all in, of course, you go TBM. So there's your TBM head. There's the cutters. This head would be spinning. The material would be broken up and chips would form in front and then be fed into these holes and then out the back of the TBM. And if the rock is not so great, or if you're in soil, you need to do something different. So here's another TBM. This has some cutters, but it also has scrapers to bring in things like soil and clay. Everything's self-contained. Inside of this machine, these concrete rings are erected which form the full support for the tunnel, and then all of this infrastructure, we can go back down the tunnel several hundred meters, is for grouting and ventilation, etc. So this is called a shield TBM. So I hope that was cool, because Who doesn't like toys and tunnels, right?